Hey everyone, welcome to today's explainer. When we talk about paying off debt, we tend to completely obsess over the numbers, right? We stare at spreadsheets, stress out over interest rates, and calculate these super strict monthly payments. But today, we're actually going to look way beyond the calculator. We're going to dive into the often ignored emotional reality of the debt repayment journey. Because getting out of debt, it requires a whole lot more than just good math skills. It really requires mental toughness.
Seriously, ask yourself this. Is getting out of debt just a math problem? It's a huge question to hook into immediately. Sure, balances and interest rates matter, obviously, but if getting out of debt were purely a math equation, well, nobody would ever struggle with it. There's a much deeper, hidden layer going on here. If you've ever felt exhausted, frustrated, or, let's be honest, even embarrassed by your debt, this explainer is going to show you exactly why.
Okay, let's dive into this. Paying off debt is honestly like a two-front war. On one side, you've got the math. These are the tangible things, your balances, your rates, your payments. But on the flip side, we have the mind. And this represents those invisible mental battles, the sudden wins, and the deeply, deeply frustrating setbacks. Most financial advice completely ignores this second front. But if you don't conquer the mind, you are inevitably going to struggle to conquer the math.
Section 1, the emotional roller coaster. Because let me tell you, this journey is rarely a straight positive line.
Let's actually trace out what this timeline usually looks like. Think about month 1. You are likely feeling highly motivated, right? Hopeful. You've made a plan and you're ready to attack. But then, month 6 hits, and that initial burst of hope kind of collides with the endless, grueling grind of making minimum payments, and you start to feel pretty discouraged. By the time month 12 rolls around, it's super common for feelings of guilt, resentment, or shame to start creeping in. You're probably wondering why you aren't making faster progress. This is incredibly common, and it's absolutely vital to recognize where you are on this timeline.
The real reason for all this turbulence is that debt isn't just a financial state. Not at all. It is deeply, fundamentally tied to your self-worth, your day-to-day stress, and your identity. Having days where you feel incredibly proud of making a big payment, followed by days where you feel almost ashamed you ever got into debt in the first place, that is completely natural. Debt attacks our core sense of identity, which is exactly why the psychological weight is often way heavier than the financial one. Section 2, your biggest mental hurdles. Let's move on and see how this builds, because it's time to confront the specific mental monsters standing in your way. Based on the research, there are 4 major psychological challenges that most frequently derail our progress. We're talking about shame, motivation dips, lifestyle comparison, and all-or-nothing thinking. Basically, these are the hurdles that cause people to just throw in the towel. Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack exactly how each of these completely tricks our brains, and more importantly, how you can defeat them. First up is shame and guilt. This is that deep, sinking embarrassment about your debt that leads you to hide it from your friends and family. But here's the thing, this secrecy directly leads to isolation. When you hide your debt from loved ones because you're embarrassed, you are actively cutting yourself off from support. And that isolation just makes the burden feel twice as heavy. It's a vicious cycle, really, where guilt forces you into the shadows right when you need the light of a support system the most. And this brilliantly illustrates our next hurdle, motivation dips. Look, your choice of payoff strategy directly impacts your psychological momentum. The debt snowball method focuses on quick wins. Paying off those smaller balances first gives your brain an immediate, huge psychological boost. On the other hand, the debt avalanche prioritizes mathematically saving money by targeting high-interest debt first. But honestly, it can feel agonizingly slow, and it will deeply test your patience. So if your motivation is dipping, it might just be because your strategy isn't giving your brain the quick wins it actually needs to keep going. Hurdle number 3 is one I think literally all of us struggle with, the lifestyle comparison trap. This is the totally painful experience of seeing others travel, dine out, or buy shiny new things while you are head down, aggressively grinding to pay off your balance. It is incredibly frustrating to be making responsible choices while watching your friends post spontaneous trips to Tulum on Instagram, right? This comparison trap is a massive trigger that will absolutely make you want to throw your hands up and pull out your credit card. Finally, we have all-or-nothing thinking. This is a super common cognitive distortion. It's when one tiny slip-up, let's say ordering a $20 pizza when you swore you'd cook at home, makes you think, well, I've already failed the whole budget. And because you think you failed, you just stop trying altogether. So the crucial point here is that one minor slip-up, like getting takeout, should absolutely never trick you into abandoning your massive financial goals. Perfection is an illusion anyway.
To actually overcome these hurdles, we have to completely reframe our perspective. Listen, paying off debt is not a sprint. If you treat it like a sprint, you're going to expect perfection and instant results, and you will quickly burn out. Instead, paying off debt is a marathon. It requires pacing, immense patience, and deliberately recognizing the small progress you make along the way. Remind yourself, pacing yourself is truly the only way you are going to survive the long haul here.
Section 3, strategies for your mindset. Let's shift gears a bit and look at the actual mindset toolkit you need to conquer those hurdles.
All right, here are 3 highly actionable steps you can implement literally today. Step 1, celebrate your small wins. Every single time you reduce a balance by, say, $500, celebrate it. Give yourself a cheap but meaningful reward, maybe a fancy coffee or a cozy movie night at home. Step 2, reframe your why. Connect the payoff to something much bigger than just numbers on a screen. Think about your future freedom and dramatically lowering your daily stress. And step 3, practice self-compassion. Speak to yourself exactly like you would to a really good friend who's trying to improve their life. Showing yourself some grace is absolutely critical for long-term success.
Now, in addition to those internal mindset shifts, you need external actions to anchor you. Track your progress visually. Stick a payoff chart on your fridge or use a dedicated app. Build a real support system by joining online communities of people who are on the exact same mission. Talk to someone who truly understands the struggle. By moving that mental battle out of your head and into the physical world, like watching a balance drop on an app, you build absolutely undeniable momentum.
Section 4, building a financial future. Because reclaiming your future one payment at a time is the ultimate goal of this entire journey.
I really want you to burn this quote into your memory. Progress is more important than perfection. It's such a powerful realization. When you inevitably stumble or, when a month doesn't go exactly as planned, be patient with yourself. Because every single payment you make, no matter how tiny it feels in the moment, is a tangible, real step toward your ultimate freedom. Now, what's really interesting about this is how it brings us completely full circle to where we started. The math is simply about getting those account balances down to 0. But the mindset, that is about reclaiming your confidence, lowering your stress, and truly taking back control of your entire future. This perfectly proves that paying off debt is just as much about building a strong, resilient mindset as it is about solving a mathematical equation.
I want to leave you with this final thought. What is the hardest emotional part of paying off debt for you? Is it the shame, the motivation dips, maybe the comparison to your friends? I really encourage you to genuinely reflect on your own mental hurdles today. And whatever your answer is, please know this: you aren't alone. Countless others are fighting the exact same mental battles right now. Thank you so much for joining me to explore the psychological side of debt. And hey, keep pushing forward, one payment at a time.